Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What is going on, guys? About to preview I'll probably review how I went over the weekend. You got to forgive Shorty. He's a little dusty. It was large night last night. Had a 30th birthday party and it was good fun. Had the guava cruises absolutely flowing. And yeah, actually went out. I haven't been out for a while. Like, I've had a few house parties and like functions and stuff, but haven't kicked it on to an old nightclub for a couple of months probably. But yeah, I went to Geelong Hotel. It was a solid vibe. I mean, I must admit, it was a bit quieter than I thought. I mean, they used to have downstairs pumping and upstairs pumping. I mean, upstairs was only just going, so maybe since Shorty last went out, maybe the tide has turned. That might not be the spot to go anymore. But no, it was a good night, and saw a couple of people who watched the channel as well. So shout out to those fellas who said g'day. I really appreciate it when you guys come up and say hello. So met one of the fellas at the party, and then just as I was strolling out of GH, Shorty was just like, fuck, it's time for bed, maybe some Maccas, I'm cooked here. He was like, Shorty SuperCoach. I was like, g'day mate, how's it going? Switching to SuperCoach mode, but good stuff. I was going to say it's been like a quiet day, but it actually hasn't really. Took the sleep in. Gotta love the Sunday sleep in, mate. You don't get it all too often, but played a bit of golf. And then just went over to the folks for a bit of your Sunday dinner. Old Jeff just whipping out a nice little roast lamb. Nice tender one it was, so went pretty nicely. But let's take a look at my side, shall we? And as always, I don't often check it throughout the week. And look, I feel like I was going okay. But there'll be a few scores that are a bit of a surprise. I get the sense there's a couple of premiums not quite performing how I would like, but move up in rank, mate. That's a happy day any day of the week. 1939, I know at one stage I was predicted to be around 2000. But hey, mate, any time you're moving up in the rankings is a good time. We had 18 on the field. Seamus Mitchell, of course, was a late withdrawal, so that brought me from 19 to 18, which was a pity. But, mate, we'll take that every day of the week. Moving inside the top 3,000. I said I wanted to be knocking on the door of the top 1,000 by the time I get out of the buys. So, mate, we'll take it. How we go? So, Tommy Stewart, real nice. Dacos, real nice. As you can see there, had the VC on him. 123 is just awkward, mate. It's just dancing with your sister sort of stuff. I was like, I don't know whether to take that. I mean, I really thought Bontempelli was going to go bang. And look, he was okay, but far from his best. The Cats played really well, which I was stoked about. I was watching that game at the function, just getting around it, mate. It's trying sort of hard to keep in that psycho supporter that sits inside you when you're just at a public event. But man, I was getting some fist pumps going, mate. We were crowded around the TV. It was actually a good atmosphere watching the last quarter. But yeah, moral of that story is I probably missed it. I identified that the Cats' midfield was struggling. What I really should have identified was that their ruck department would struggle even more, and Tim English dominated. Jordan Dawson, solid. Now, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Underperforming Prem, and I think Cornelio was probably a bit down as well. 81, not a disaster, but he's just not quite hitting the straps, mate. So, Ziebell, the question is, 102 average, there's nothing wrong with that. I thought Aaron Hall got involved a little bit too much for my liking today. Now, Zeebs, I can only imagine, was on 60-something at some stage in the last quarter, kicked 2 out in the full. I mean, if he just used the footy properly, he might have just pumped out an 80. Just not sure if Ziebell is a premium. I'm a little bit nervous, got a bit of cold feet. I'm far from going crazy on it. I'll back him in, but I'm just starting to go, does he quite have the prolific ball-winning nature that he did at the start of the year? Don't know. Do they play a slightly different brand where they're not controlling the footy from the back half as much under Ratton? Again, I've got no idea. He could just as easily bounce back, which we often see. So I'm not panicking and trading him out or anything like that, but just a watch. Weddle, very nice. He's making some saucy cash, which we love. Bontempelli, I touched on. Laird, rock solid. McRae, solid. Again, they're solid scores without playing best on-ground footy. And again, Tom Green and Cornelio in good matches from the Giants just didn't quite produce their best. I just don't know. I mean, Cornelio, I stand by as a keeper in the forward line. Green, I think he's a keeper in the midfield. I mean, it's far from the most pressing issue. You just got to get through the buys. You can't be trading willy-nilly because there's still upgrades to be had. But I just wouldn't mind. Next week I'll be really just hoping for a 110 plus from Ziebell, Cornelio, Green. But I tell you what, Bailey Humphrey, mate, is an absolute dream. He's going to go beyond 400k. And Kieran Briggs, mate, I was umming and ahhing at times. But this guy, he could double in price. From that 254, he could hit 500k plus. And this could be the old Riley O'Brien inclusion. Do you remember when Riley, years back, came in mid-season and all of a sudden was the number one ruck? You could pick him up for like 200, 300k. And he just dominated, averaged like 90 plus for the rest of the year. Briggs could do some real good stuff for Shorty's side. There's English there going bang, return to his best. Taranto, really good again. He just is so consistent. Rosie, really good. He barely dips below 90. And Sheezel, I saw him behind the footy, in front of the footy, so I'm not exactly sure the precise role he played, but I can't believe he missed that banana into the open goal, mate. They probably would have seen him go 90 plus. Again, I put it on the radar. Is Sheezel a keeper? I'm putting it on the radar. I'm starting to get a little nervous. I know you guys talked me out of it last week, saying that he missed a bit of time in the third quarter, so I'm happy to hear some reasoning, but I'm starting to think that he'll still have some great footy in him. But I'm just wondering if I can upgrade him to like Clayton Oliver next week or the week after, I'm bloody doing it, mate. So watch this space. Van Rooyen was the real clutch one of the weekend. He'd been average. He'd been just slowing up. But right when I needed him on the field, he tons up on your Friday night, which brings a smile to Shorty's face. And forward, you don't lose much from a points point of view because everyone sort of had him. A few people might have lost that 48 if they had 19 or 20 players. It would have cancelled it out. But it probably more so hurts from a cash gen point of view. He's been good the last couple of weeks. I think he probably was on around 50 at three-quarter time because he barely touched the footy in the last quarter from what I saw. But yeah, that is how the side went. Let's see if we've got a few dubs. 6 wins in the leagues. I really need to get going in that content creator league. I feel like I'm scoring all right, but I just keep getting done. Good to get the one in the A-team league because I do need to fight my way into staying in that 8. Tight loss there to Seymour Butts in Shorty Supercoach. 13 points, mate. You're killing me. Soundly beaten there. Got the dub against Danyon. Going nicely there. Third on the ladder. Still top of the table in these two. I think one's, the tennis fellas and the Warm Ponds League. So, got done by Aiden, though. He's done me there. We were talking about that on the weekend. So, he's done me, but still going okay on the ladder. Still on top in the Work League, which is nice, 1,028. Not the strongest league, I wouldn't have thought. And the all-important bragging rights, Cash League, I say it every week. Pleasing to get the W in that one as well. Let's take a look at how this side is going to shape up for this week. I don't think there were too many issues with getting a full side last week for many people. I think it's around 15 buy, or the last buy is the one that probably is causing people the most concern. But yeah, let's just throw a few bits and pieces around because this one's chill. Like, there's only 2 teams missing. So it's pretty cruisy, mate. Chuck him in there. And then, obviously it's a pretty light on forward line, isn't it? So, I mean, I've got some dual position guys. Clearly, McRae and Cornelio can end up as forwards. And Ziebell if I wanted. But, at the moment it doesn't really matter because there are blokes on the bench that can't play anyway, so it doesn't really matter where I have them situated in the team. But I don't really have much of a line of sight on what I'm trading. I think Darcy Cameron's a guy that might pique the interest of some. I just think it's really important to have that dual position guy, forward ruck, come later in the year because if English or Marshall get rested or just go down for a week or two, it's really handy to just have that. And he bounced back nicely with 105, 23 touches, 31 hit out. So I'm pretty sure he still would have dropped in price. So he's actually at he did. So 450 odd. Am I an absolute psycho if I trade him straight to Sheezel? Am I a psycho? Like, I don't know. I mean, his break-even's probably over 100 now. Yeah, 119. He's only turned up once in the last 4 weeks. 3 of those 80 and below. I'm backing the guy in, but we've seen what young players can do. They can drop off. We saw it with Will Day. Like, this kid's a star, but to produce premium numbers for the whole year, I don't know. I've also got 150 in the bank, so, you know, if Mitchell didn't come back, I'm sure I could find a way to trade him to old mate Darcy Cameron as well. So, yeah, there's a few things to think about. I haven't really looked deeply into, like, trades and stuff like that or what I should do, but I know I want to bring in Oliver. I still think Sam Walsh is an option, you know, in a week or two. Cripps, can he bounce back? Like, because I think that M8 position I might need to finalise with a bit of a cheaper guy, so I might not be able to splash the cash. The back line's pretty sorted. Obviously, Ziebell's a watch. Forward line is tough, you know, but I think if you have Cornelio and McRae in there, in theory, I only need to upgrade one, and depending how you read, Sheezel. So I think that could be Darcy Cameron, and then ideally Zach Butters. So I'll see what Butters score, but I'm guessing the way Port were rolling against Hawthorn, Butters is normally a main man in that sort of activity, so he probably turned up quite comfortably, 26 and 105. Yeah, so he'll actually have a pretty high break even and might be a good chance to come in soon because he'll drop that 184 and probably have a 120 plus break even here. Well, fucking huge break even, mate. I guess he is 650. I sort of forget that. So I'll be putting him on the absolute watch list because he's flying, mate. So I feel like you got to have him. So there's a big chance that Sheezel, my forward line could be Taranto, Rosie, McRae, Cornelio, Cameron, and Butters. And then obviously the back line's going all right. You got your mids there. Obviously need 2 upgrades because Cornelio and McRae will go forward. I think one of them can be Oliver. Steele's a bit of a watch, and then I think that M8 position, like I said before, that could be a Walsh, Cripps. Probably prefer Walsh. Just not sure. If history suggests when Cripps starts to struggle, we find out that he's got a bit of a niggle or something like that. And I feel like Walsh isn't even playing that good, and he's finding ways to average 105 or whatever he's averaging. So anyway, we might wrap it up because Shorty's pretty tired. He's got work tomorrow, so we'll wrap it up there. But yeah, I'll be going live as I always do from 7 o'clock on your old TikTok and 7:30 around that mark on YouTube. So feel free to chuck any questions in below. I'll do my best to get to them. If not, I'll certainly be taking your questions on the Wednesday night. So have a good one. I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.